Hello everyone, welcome to the Tech Podcast series. This is Lakshat Pant from Azure Developer Community. Welcome to another episode of Tech Podcast series. For today's podcast, we have our industry leader from Mudrex, co-founder Idul Patel. He's the co-founder and CEO of Mudrex. If you ever explored about crypto industry, blockchain industry, you must have heard about him, right? He has been the leader in this industry for so long time. To kick start, I have lots of questions to ask him, roughly around 30 40 questions I have, but we'll see how much we can cover in this podcast. To start quickly with a quick introduction of yourself, Idul, if you could, I'd request if you could quickly introduce yourself first.
Sure. Thanks a lot for having me here, Lakshat. I am Idul Patel. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Mudrex. Mudrex is a crypto investing platform where we help users invest in 400 odd cryptocurrencies via our platform. We've also got some special products like coin sets, which are similar to mutual funds for crypto, as well as a platform through which you can invest in futures and options in crypto. So as a result, Mudrex is today India's largest crypto investing platform. We are also India's largest on and off ramp provider, helping users go from fiat to crypto and crypto to fiat in a very seamless way.
And through the entire podcast we'll talk about different topics, right? But quick, I just, because while I was doing my homework, I saw something very fascinating to me, that's very much fascinating to me, that is about YC. How's been your experience with YC, and how has it helped you to build this startup, to take ideate it, and build a team and everything to build this startup from? And
So
because the applications are open, how would you suggest, at the moment applications are open, so how would you suggest anyone to apply for it?
correct. So we got into Y Combinator in 2019. So winter 2019 was the batch in which we were. That was, I think, one of the last batches when they actually called people over there to the SF, and the interviews, etc. Everything happened over there. Of course, the experience was great. The clear benefit of Y Combinator is the access to network and just a lot of immense learning opportunities that you get from people over there. That really, really helps. So that was very valuable to us. Plus, I think the trust that the brand gets is also important, and for a company like Mudrex, where trust is very important, definitely it works out, right? So from both those perspectives, it was really useful. So for folks who are trying to build businesses in the trust ecosystem, or maybe trying to build businesses that are B2B, targeting especially US, YC definitely is a great option.
Thank you for that quick tip, because I have been also observing you are quite active on socials, and recently it's been quite like a trend for every startup founder to make content, build content around socials. And why not, right? It's absolutely a brilliant thing. You guys are putting so many efforts, and we really want to see it. What do you think, how do you perceive it, like what it looks like to just build content on socials, and does it really help in from a business perspective?
Here, when you are doing anything on social, the real thing that you want to do is basically connect more closer with the community and the audience that's there. As a result, anything that is superficial, anything that is not truly what you believe in, very easily stands out as fake, and that's not something people resonate with. So, if you are wanting to build any content that goes out that way, it needs to be very personal. It needs to be driven from what your core experiences are and also what you believe. It doesn't necessarily need to, it doesn't necessarily need to be for everyone, but for the ones for
Right.
whom it work, really work. It should really resonate, because that's how you build an audience. That's how you build a community. That's how people will relate to you and love you or hate you either ways. But that's how they will want to understand what you're wanting to say.
Right now, as you have talked about community, we'll discuss about the community as well. But I just wanted to start it from the crypto market, right? About the current trends in the crypto market, cryptocurrency market. And the way I want you to answer, I want you to see this question like, someone like Elon Musk coming and talking about, a couple of times about Dogecoins and whatnot. And how do you see all these bullish and bearish trends going in the market, and what are the present trends at the moment in the industry?
No, so I think crypto is in its fifth or sixth market cycle now. And where we are sitting right now is a point in time which was similar to, let's say, May, June 2021, which was the start of the last kind of sort of bull market that we saw in crypto. This time, the market forces that are primarily driving is clear regulations, clarity, and improvement in a lot of core technology products that have happened inside of crypto. And as a result, the adoption is slowly and steadily growing. We are also seeing a very large inflow of institutional investors participating in crypto, primarily through the recently launched Bitcoin ETF. Uh, The entire effect of that is yet to pan out, but on a day-to-day basis, it's nearing some format of saturation. That's where we are at this point in time. I expect this to continue over the next 12 odd months or so at least, and we should hopefully see a rally in that period.
Yeah, and when you talk about all these industry trends, when you talk about these about the flow that we are going on at the moment, right? How do you see it from an impact perspective of in the on the financial market, right? How it really impacting the financial market and the current industries?
So I think crypto is fairly decoupled from the rest of the financial markets, and what it offers users is truly a new asset class, and a new asset class that has not been available till now for users to participate and invest in. That's why crypto is interesting and exciting also for a lot of people to come into, whether these are young people or whether these are people who've been seasoned and are investing already in other asset classes. So that's where we are.
And there has been a significant dip where if we talk about a year back, right? So what has been changed since all these years after? Because I can see the trend in the especially in the community, in the Web3 community, right? Especially if the kind of traffic that is coming from EMEA region, right? It's kind of amazing, right? From the for the crypto market industries, right? So what has been changed? Is it the community? Is it the awareness, or maybe the tech has been enabled more? How do you see it?
So I think what has happened is a sequence of events. Firstly, more and more and more regulatory clarity has emerged in this region across the board, with MiCA coming in, with multiple jurisdictions like India included, pushing towards a very clear format of registration for crypto companies coming in. This has helped. That is number one. Number two, institutional participation has grown. So because institutional participation has grown, that has driven a lot of price action, almost in all cases in the positive direction. So institutional participation has grown. That has led to price action in the positive direction. Price action in the positive direction means that prices are going up, which means that users want to participate, which is what has then led to more people coming into crypto.
Wow. And from an application perspective, from different because in India we fortunately we have so many possible industries to cater, right? How do you see kind of in applications perspective of blockchain and cryptocurrency in the Indian ecosystem?
No, so I think these are growing and growing fairly quickly. Having said that, what will necessarily happen is that at any point in time when an application is trying to solve for a core financial product, there will be some friction with the regulatory bodies. And it will take some time for them to understand, to adjust, to figure out how all of this works and incorporate that in the day to day system. That will take a few months or a few years for that matter.
And when you have mentioned about the regulatory challenges and opportunities, right? What do you mean about this? Like, is it the kind of a government implications that has been there, or maybe are you talking about the taxation that is there? So, or maybe the platform. What are these regulatory
So
challenges?
what has happened is that after the taxation coming in and after a clear registration coming in from the FIU, more and more crypto companies have started to work very closely and give a clear guidelines, clear framework for users. This actually helps users get onboarded very quickly and very easily, and it builds trust in the user community, and that opens up an opportunity for new players to come into the ecosystem and grow and scale up.
Wow. And if you have to draw a parallel, like from a prediction perspective, how do you see the future of cryptocurrency and blockchain going together? Because from blockchain perspective, we have seen a fairly decent adoption from the Indian government ecosystem as well, like let it be ONDC, right? And there are a couple of others as well, right? So how do you see the future
So
of cryptocurrency
a
in India?
technology and a technology that has very specific use cases, primarily on use cases where there is a where there are multiple participants and multiple actors that come into play and do some kind of a settlement as such. So it's a very specific usage of a very specific technology. It will get adopted slowly and steadily over time as it becomes more and more and more popular. That for sure happens for blockchain. Crypto as an asset will, I think, see adoption much faster because more and more and more users will want to participate in this new wave of wealth creation. So that is what will happen.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to tweak this podcast to a little bit different side from a startup perspective, right? Because you have built a really successful startup and I really want you to talk about it. How do you see startups' role in driving crypto innovation? Because as soon as we have more players in the market, the awareness goes in, right? So how do you see
Right.
it?
No, so I think all crypto innovation in the market can only be driven by startups because
Hmm.
at this point in time, the entire ecosystem is so early that it's just not worth the risk for incumbent players to participate in. And as a result, younger, nimbler companies that are willing to take more risks, that are willing to push the boundaries and live on the edge, will come in and will create newer opportunities, newer products, solve for more important problems that users are facing. and as a result be able to scale crypto in not only the country but in the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, and again, recently I was hearing Mark Cuban, right? He also said after 1 decade or two, right, we'll be definitely having only startups left, nothing else. So that really makes sense when it comes to any innovation part, right? So if one has to make from an investment strategies in cryptocurrencies, right? How do you see it from a startup perspective? Where one should, is it the tech that where one should invest in? What it looks like to build a successful, cryptocurrency
Yeah.
startup?
For if you're building any startup, you first need to solve. You first need to start off with what problem you are trying to solve, and you need to
Okay.
have much more clarity on that. What tech you build, what team you hire, etc., is all a basically a more tactical executional decision, which can be taken care of much later. What you start off with is saying that what is the problem you are looking to solve? How is it that you are best suited to solve it, or what can you do to solve this problem in the best possible way in the world, and then take it ahead from it. That's what the thought process needs to be like. Everything else is uh, a tactical choice, and no matter, and in almost surely most of those cases, it really doesn't matter what choice you make. Any of those choices will lead you to success.
Wow. And from a startups perspective, from a building perspective, how do you see overcoming challenges in this competitive startup landscape, right? Because okay, let's talk about the generative AI, right? Because we see a lots of
In all
generative AI startups coming in. So I was talking about after the Gen AI revolution, right? We see let's if we talk about the product, right? 90% of the startups are now AI startups there, right? So how do you see this, and what are the possible synergies of blockchain or maybe cryptocurrency with AI? Is there any possibility where we can see some possible synergy where something is coming up, building up together? And what are your thoughts about this specific buzz around AI that has been created up, in a quite
So
1 minute of time?
I think yes, of course, there has been a buzz around it, but just like how blockchain has very specific uses, there are very specific use cases where, in some ways or the other, AI and machine learning can help out younger companies. Not only younger companies, older companies as well. Most of those use cases are in some format of automating manual, menial tasks that can happen much faster. And now, because that automation can happen much faster, people will look at newer solutions for problems that they could have that are being solved in different ways right now, but can be now solved much more efficiently because we've got this new tool and new technology available. So I think it will definitely change. And yeah, every company will become an AI company because every company will start using AI in some format or the other. Right? It's just like saying every company is an Excel company because every company uses an Excel tool. It'll
Right.
be a tool that people will use in different ways, shapes, and formats to solve for different problems. That's how we should look at it, and it will be a part of most workflows somewhere or the other. Because at the end of the day, it works on both fronts, right? It ends up being a helpful assistant as well as it helps up doing the heavy lifting of a lot of manual, menial, regular tasks.
Right. And from a entrepreneurial mindset, right, I really want to know what do you tell all these to our listeners, like what kind of lessons have you learned along this journey, for all the aspiring entrepreneurs, what it looks like to build a startup and what it takes.
No, of course, it's extremely volatile as such. It's volatile from the perspective of your. It's volatile from firstly from an external perspective, right? Company goes up, goes down. The business goes up, goes down. The markets go up, go down. Your consumer responses go up, go down. But it's also very volatile internally. It's an emotional journey. It takes a lot of toll on you, on your family, on everyone who is around you, willing there to support you and help you out and grow as well, right? So what needs to be constant throughout this is there needs to be an unwavering kind of sort of focus to solve the core problem with which you started all of this, and continuous evaluation and with a fair and clear kind of sort of approach whether you are still doing a fair job at solving that problem or not. As long as those two things are there and you have that as the anchor to help you guide through all of it, everything else is doable. But there needs to be some anchor that you can link to.
Get it. And to all the, for anyone who is starting very fresh in this industry, right, maybe in crypto or maybe in the blockchain industry, what do you will say is where should they start from a
Yeah,
student
so
perspective?
when if you're starting off in crypto as a person who is wanting to participate in crypto and learn in it, there are just so many resources available to you. But having said that, because there is a lot of investment opportunities also in crypto, I would recommend that you start small, start with some format of investing into crypto that helps you get associated with the asset class, that builds your interest and then helps you do a better format of learning and so on and so forth as well. There are just many ways in which crypto can become a part of everyday life. There are real problems that can be solved, and those problems can be picked up one by one.
Wow. And how do you see, because it is significantly connected, right? What are the impact of automation in terms of crypto trading and, Mudrex leadership in this particular space?
Correct. So automation will be a part of crypto trading. Is already a part of crypto trading from a lot of perspectives. Automation is going to be there because crypto is probably the only 24/7 trading market. It's a global market. It's open always and it's volatile always, right? So as a result, there are always opportunities for people to be made, and the only way to capture those opportunities are via automation.
Wow. And again, a silly question to ask, but what's better market to trade, a crypto market or maybe equities?
It, like it really depends on what you want to do. I don't trade personally. I don't recommend people trade. Vast majority of people who trade end up losing money. I recommend that if you're looking to create wealth, you should just slowly and steadily aim to build wealth in any asset class. The right way to do it is just do time-bound, regular, recurring investments and hope that over time everything grows. That's it. That's the only thing
Wow.
that you can do.
Oh, that's a very honest answer. I wasn't expecting. Again, because I have lots of other questions to ask as well, but from a community perspective, from a trading perspective, how do you see the community helps any industry to grow, and what are the impact that community
Yeah,
brings?
in the world in which we are living, yeah, in the
Yeah.
world in which we are living today, community is a core part of what you do, right? It's you can think of it this way that earlier, it's a few years ago when social media wasn't there, when Telegram channels, Discord groups weren't there, it was really hard for you to get consumer feedback. Now, your community is what drives all your decision making. Your community is what will dictate what you should do, what you should not do, how do you grow, how do you not grow. And if you are truly honest to solving the problem that you are looking to solve, you will want to build a community, listen to that community, help the community understand, and get a lot of reflection from them as well and grow the business.
Okay. And the final question that I have for this podcast for today, right, from the industry standpoint, how do you see the recession coming in, and how do you guys, how what are your thoughts about this? Is it
What
really there, and are there significant opportunity for freshers as well? What are your thoughts about this?
what recession? There is no recession anywhere that I can see. I have not even spoken to anyone about it.
Wow, wow. To anyone, to all our listeners, now we got it right. There is no recession coming in, so you can always apply to Mudrex. There is always a opportunity to apply for, right? So,
Of
and
course.
just one last question: do you really think there is a, because I have seen a couple of startups, a couple of good people, editors talking about AI in interviews, right? How do you see it?
No, I think, of course, there are now many easily accessible capabilities that were not earlier available. So, of course,
Right,
a lot of people did build machine learning models in way, shape, or the other for ages, but now all of that is being democratized and being easily available to each and everyone at very, very low costs. And
right.
that investment of cost and time is being put in by much larger companies, and that should ideally help and benefit everyone else who is looking to use the just the tremendous power that it provides for solving day-to-day tasks. So I think it'll definitely change how all of us build companies, how all of us build businesses. We will now start looking at how do we build more with less, using all of this infrastructure and all of these capabilities that are being made available.
Wow, that's perfect. And for all our listeners, any last thought you want to share from a advice perspective?
No, nothing as such comes in mind. Just be cautious. There are a lot of scammy things that continue to happen around you. Just make sure that you know what you're doing, irrespective of which asset class you're investing.
Yeah, and again, thank you for joining for this podcast. But it was my pleasure to record this podcast with you. We are coming up with lots of initiative. Hope to collaborate in future. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Lakshay.